my big thing is taking action. So I always tell people, hey, we can sit here and share this stuff all day long, but you've got to go take action. That's where, really where the rubber hits the road is, go and take what you learn, go and do something with it.
Hello, and welcome to the Write Podcast, your source for inspiration in content writing, marketing, and strategizing. Every week, I come on and share entrepreneurial stories, online writing tips, content strategy help, and more to impact your life and habits as a content marketer. Welcome to the show. Hello and welcome to episode 14 in the Write Podcast. In today's episode, I get to talk to Madalyn Sklar, who is an expert Twitter influencer, keynote speaker, and the creator of the Twitter chat Twitter Smarter, as well as the Twitter Smarter podcast. Madalyn, it's so great to have you here today.
Hey, Julia, thank you so much for having me. I'm just honored to be here.
Awesome. So I wanted to start by asking you what kind of got you started in the world of Twitter. You're famous now for how well you do on Twitter. And you're number
Awesome.
one in Houston, I believe.
I'm the number one social media marketing power influencer. I'm just blown away by that because we are the fourth largest city in the country.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We're a big city. We got a lot of tech people here, and I had no idea that I rank so high. I have placed, in the last several years, I placed number 3, I placed number 2, and I somehow beat everybody out to be number 1.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about how you came to be where you are today. Like, was it a fast track progress or was it slower? Tell me about the growth you've done.
It was a long process. Getting to where I'm at is a long game, is not something that happens overnight.
Right.
I see it happening overnight for people who jump on a platform, right place, right time. Like when Snapchat came out, I've seen a few people like Carlos Gil that I know he's worked hard for many, many years, but he made himself known as like the Snapchat expert and, done so well with that. But I've seen some people that just kind of came out of nowhere with that. I have been working hard for the last 20 years doing digital marketing. I've been primarily in the music business and made a pivot in my career last year and decided to kind of, in addition to music business, also work with all different business types and help people. I mean, my thing is that I like to help people. My motto is work smarter, not harder. I just like helping people excel with digital marketing, but specifically with social media marketing, because we're at a place today where you have to be on social media. It used to be
True.
You didn't have to, but it would help. Whereas now every article you read is every business has to be on. If you're not on it, you're missing the boat.
That's exactly true. So you started out in the music industry. Is that how you started out in social? Yes.
So I really got into social media 11 years ago with MySpace. I know a lot of people will laugh at MySpace, but it was funny because I even was reading some stuff on Facebook last night about people kind of joking around about it. But so with MySpace, it was built for musicians. So it was an amazing platform for the music community. So 11 years ago, I was helping musicians build their fan bases and get themselves noticed when they'd go out on tour just by utilizing MySpace. So I really got my feet wet with social media back then. So I then, got into Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all of them as they started evolving over the years. But I found that Twitter was the one I liked the most. I like short and concise, to the point, and I really found my home with that on Twitter with 140 characters.
Wow, that's awesome. That's not a skill set that a lot of people have. Like even me, for instance, I do better actually with long form content. So Twitter chats are harder for me, to come up with that short amount of characters inside a few minutes.
I know. I've always noticed that with like writers and people that like to write long form, that they've always told me that Twitter is a little more challenging for them because they got to be super concise.
Right.
Whereas I'm kind of like the opposite. When I write blog posts, I try to write them short, to the point, And that's just my style. So with Twitter, it just was like, oh, this is a good fit. I like this. So and the thing is too, Julia, is that from day one, I saw the power of Twitter. I saw that I could get on there and instantly connect with people that are like-minded, that could possibly help me with my career, or I could help them, since I am very service-oriented and I'm just there to help people and to be a resource. I've always noticed that with Twitter. Some of these other networks you get on, like Facebook is more of like, hey, what are my friends up to? What's my family up to? It's more of like, checking in. People do not go to Facebook specifically to go buy something like you would do, searching in Google. They don't go there looking to see what a business is doing necessarily. But if it pops up, yes, of course, with an ad. But on Twitter, it's like, hey, what's this business up to? Let's go look at their Twitter feed and see what's going on with them. And hey, we're on a Twitter chat. And hey, this business just posted this great tweet. Let's go over to their page and read more of what's going on with them. So I've just always found that, to me personally, Twitter just has a whole unique vibe that makes it much more appealing.
That's an interesting perspective. And Twitter has been my favorite platform, especially in the recent year, because as you know, I started a Twitter chat. I know you run one as well. And the communities around Twitter chats just amaze me. I feel like I'm walking into a virtual conference or something.
Twitter chats are hands down the most popular, most amazing aspect of Twitter, because exactly like what you're saying, I always tell people it's like walking into a cocktail party and you've got like hundreds of people you can go and talk to. You've got like the whole room having a conversation, and then you can also walk over to other people and have a side conversation during the big conversation. I mean, so many times I'll be on a Twitter chat. Like an example I'll use is media chat. It's a great Twitter chat for social media marketers. It happens on Thursday evenings. I've gone on there, and while participating in the Twitter chat, I've met people from Hootsuite. I've met other prominent social media marketers where we'll just be chatting and connecting and building a relationship while we're in media chat. And it's gotten to the point where we've taken it offline and hung out together, like done things with each other. And it's so amazing. Like there's so much power in that. I have so many people that tell me like, I just don't get it, Madalyn. I don't really see the benefit. So I always say, go to a Twitter chat, go find something that relates to your industry or to a hobby or something, and you're going to meet like-minded people and be blown away by the quality of the people that are there.
That's so true. So tell me a little bit about the Twitter chat and the podcast you have that are the same name, Twitter Smarter.
Twitter Smarter. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm really big on branding. Branding is a big thing for me. And when I was starting Twitter Smarter, I wanted to come up with a hashtag that, number one, nobody else is using. Is very important to find one that you can stake claim as your own. So at Twitter Smarter, I like to brand things, and I actually started that as an online course in 2013. And what I did is I researched hashtags. I wanted to find a hashtag that really relates to what I'm doing, and I want to help people become smarter on Twitter. So I came up with Twitter Smarter. Nobody else was using the hashtag. And so I started with the online course. I knew I wanted to start a podcast, and I knew I wanted to start a Twitter chat. I just knew it'd be a matter of time. And so over time, as I was developing the online course, I had to, be mentally ready, because as you know, starting a podcast is time consuming, and doing a Twitter chat is a weekly commitment. So I was ready to launch the podcast last year, June 1st of 2015. And it's just been amazing to already have branded the hashtag to use for the podcast. And it's just simply a podcast where I bring on guests and they share Twitter tips. Very brief, like about 10 to 15 minutes. It's usually about with their intros and everything, it's about a 20-minute podcast episode. People love it. They love that it's short and quick and to the point, and that they get actionable tips. And then I started the Twitter chat about 6 weeks later, and the Twitter chat has just exploded. And you know all about that because you guys have an amazing Twitter chat.
Oh,
and it's just fun to just watch this evolve and start out with just a few people, and then it builds and builds and builds, and word of mouth, and people talk about it.
Right.
So I am just really wowed and humbled by all the people that come back every single week, and then all the new people we get. It's a wonderful experience to be the leader of this.
That's awesome. And so your Twitter chat, it's hashtag Twitter Smarter. I'm really excited because you invited me to be a guest on it in a couple weeks. So I'm thrilled to do that. But tell us when that happens, what day.
So Twitter Smarter is every Thursday afternoon at 1:00 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And it's just a wonderful chat where everybody's welcome. Like I always want people to feel welcome. I invite everybody to come share their 2 cents. So we always talk about different Twitter marketing topics. I have a guest, so I always have a guest for Q&A, but people know that they can come on and answer the questions themselves, but also people come on to learn. So we have that. I find that makes for a great community because, there's different types of Twitter chats, and it all depends on the people that run it, and you follow their lead. Mine has always been, let's have this be a community, and yours is a very community oriented type of chat as well.
Yes.
And I think those are the best chats where everybody's welcome, and that, hey, if you can answer the questions, come answer the questions. It's a great opportunity to show off your expertise. And I love that. So I've had some great people come on that I've become friends with, that I've actually invited to be guests, that really shine during the Twitter chat. And so I love it. It's a great experience for everybody.
It is. And I totally agree about the community feel, that those are the best Twitter chats. We actually had someone on our Tuesday Twitter chat yesterday. He's told me that he wished that learning in school was that fun. It's a really fun way to learn.
It really is. And people will tell me that after the chat, they've taken pages and pages of notes. My big thing is taking action. So I always tell people, hey, we can sit here and share this stuff all day long, but you've got to go take action. That's where, really where the rubber hits the road is, go and take what you learn, go and do something with it. And I always encourage people to tweet me or email me and let me know. And many times people they'll let me know what they're doing that, like a big one, is Twitter video. So many people don't know about Twitter video. And whenever I talk about it, whether it's on the podcast or the Twitter chat, I always encourage people, try this out and then tag me in the tweet and let me know. And people will do that and say, wow, I had no idea that I could make a video on my phone for Twitter and share this with people. It becomes like this whole opening up a whole new world for them of possibilities for their Twitter marketing.
Oh, that's so cool. So do you regularly use Twitter video? I haven't really used it myself very much.
I use it from time to time. It's so funny, so easy to preach and then not do what we preach. I like Twitter video. It's a great feature. It's one of those things that as women, it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, let me make sure my hair looks good.
Right.
Let me make sure I got a little makeup on. It might look just right. And it's so easy for all of us women to kind of get into that mindset. Like, screw it. Let me just do it and not worry about what I look like. Cause same thing with Periscope when you're doing the video and Periscope is owned by Twitter. So, what's great about video, whether it's the, regular video or live video, which is the streaming live video with Periscope, we can all do that from our phones now in Twitter. Like when you go to compose a tweet, it's not just tweeting out something and adding a photo. We can now make a short video. You can do up to 2 minutes and 20 seconds of video. You can now do the live video where you tap on the live video button and it instantly turns on Periscope. And you're now doing a live streaming video through your Twitter, through your Periscope. So there's so much possibilities with all of this. So I myself do try to do the video both live and recorded as much as possible. What's great about it is that not everybody is utilizing this. So it's a great way to stand out. Like people are always saying, what can I do to stand out?
True.
Doing video on Twitter is a great way to stand out because so few people do it.
That's so true. That's kind of like podcasting. Very few marketers are actually doing it. And it is a lot of hard work to do a podcast, which you and I both know.
Well, the thing is about podcasting, Julia, is that I have found a couple of things. First of all, there's not enough women podcasters. It'd be nice to see more women doing this. So we definitely stand out more as female podcasters because you just don't see as many of us doing it. But the other thing, and I would love to hear your opinion on this, as a podcaster, we get seen in the same way as authors because, when you write a book, now all of a sudden you're opening up to be getting speaking gigs, doing all kinds of events. People just take more notice of you, right? It's like, oh, this person's an author. They really stand out from the pack. Well, I've noticed with us podcasters, we get viewed the same way too. People take more notice of us in the same way, like, oh, they're a podcaster because we're interviewing people. We're seen as media people, as journalists with what we're doing. And it kind of elevates us a bit. I mean, I got the amazing opportunity to speak at Social Media Marketing World last year. And one of the things that Mike Stelzner looks for in his speakers is them being a podcaster. Like that will elevate you tremendously if you are a podcaster.
Wow. That's a great opportunity. And yeah, I totally agree. I've authored a book. It came out this April. And just thinking about comparing the results from the exposure from that, as well as what's happened with my podcast, it's very similar. If not, I've seen a little more exposure from my podcast. And it's almost like you get to create sequels, and that also makes it look like you're authoring something when you put out a podcast.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your book. First of all, that's amazing. And so with you being both an author and a podcaster, that's even better because you've accomplished both. And that really is a good thing. People are really wowed by that. So, I really feel that can lead to more opportunities because you're both an author and a podcaster.
Well, thank you. So to wrap this up, Madalyn, what's a main tip that you'd share with someone who's looking to build their Twitter account, whether that's starting something new or beginning something from the ground up?
One of my best Twitter tips that I give out and advice that I always share is you gotta kind of go back to the basics. And so many people overlook this, but you gotta have an amazing Twitter profile. Your Twitter profile has to be really good because when you're out there on Twitter and you're chatting with people, they're going to go look at your profile. They're going to be like, well, who is this Madalyn Sklar? Why should I follow her? They're going to look at your picture. They're going to look at your bio. They're going to look at your header image. And all of those combined is going to help them decide whether you're worthy for them to follow, to continue chatting with you. So it's really important to take a look. Plus, what you want to do is audit it from time to time anyway, like do a 3-month audit or a 6-month audit and take a look to see, are there things you should change? For instance, with my bio, I was recently the keynote speaker at Houston Social Media Day. So I wanted that to be in my bio because that was important. And now I've taken it out and I've revised my bio. And then earlier this year, being a speaker at Social Media Marketing World, that was another big one. These all have hashtags tied to them. So I made sure, put speaker for and put the hashtag for Social Media Marketing World and the hashtag for Houston Social Media Day. These are things that can really help for people to decide, well, is this somebody that is somebody I should follow? Is this somebody I want to talk to? It lets them know who you are and what you do.
That's a great tip. So I know you're in multiple places, but just recap where we can find you.
Oh my gosh. Well, one of the great things about having an unusual name is that it's so easy to find me.
That's
just
true.
By putting Madalyn Sklar wherever you go. My best place to be reached at is Twitter because I'm always on Twitter. I love Twitter. So at Madalyn Sklar for that. And it's MadalynSklar. Also through my website, MadalynSklar.com. So those are the two best places to reach me. But of course, if your favorite place is Facebook, you can come over there. Instagram, Pinterest. I love Snapchat. I've been really getting into Snapchat, but I'm also falling in love with those Instagram stories. What's your take on that? Because it is really cool.
Yes, I agree. I felt at first like Instagram might be copying Snapchat, but now I think they have their own unique avenue of doing it. I think it is a neat opportunity.
I think so too. And because we've all been building our presence there for so long,
That's
it's like,
true.
well, wait a minute. I've been doing Snapchat for really hard for 6 months and trying to build it, but I already have a community over here at Instagram. So I'm very conflicted. Like, what should I do? Should I ditch one for the other or do both or what? So it's like really hard to decide.
Well, it's so great having you here today, Madalyn. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate chatting with you.
I really enjoyed talking to Madalyn today. I think that her reminder of taking action on the things you learn online, whether that's in a live Twitter chat, a podcast, or reading a blog, is so important. It's really easy to enjoy what you're learning, but not as easy to start implementing to achieve higher results. So be sure to take action on anything you've learned from today's podcast. After we recorded this episode, I joined Madalyn's Twitter chat, #TwitterSmarter, on Thursday as a guest host, and I was blown away by the community she's built there. With over 55,000 Twitter followers, and as the top social media power influencer in Houston, Madalyn's a real force in the social influencer sphere. Go follow her on Twitter @Madalyn Sklar, and join her live Twitter chat Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern using the #TwitterSmarter. If you've enjoyed my episodes, I'd absolutely love it if you go and leave me a rating and review in iTunes. Also, if you haven't, check out the book I recently wrote, So You Think You Can Write? The Definitive Guide to Successful Online Writing at bit.ly/SoYouThinkYouCanWrite book. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and in the iBooks store. Thanks so much for joining me for today's episode. For more, go to expresswriters.com/write-podcast.